Hello, this is Vitualis the Chess Noob, learning and having fun with chess. This is match 5 of the final round of the 2022 Australia Day tournament. I'm one of the last 5 contestants in this competition, and so far I have won 4 out of 4 matches in this final round. As I said, this is match 5. Now, in today's game, this is the second match against Fly Like a D6. This time I have the black pieces and my opponent has white. And I'm going to start off with saying that this was one of the best, most exciting matches I've ever had in a tournament or in a daily format game. So absolutely kudos to Fly Like a D6 for an absolutely fun and enjoyable game. Let's start off by having a quick look at a review. And as you can see, I was losing for much of the sort of beginning part of the game, though I did eventually manage to get ahead. Not a super accurate game for both of us, but we each got a brilliancy, each had some great moves and also had some inaccuracies and blunders as well. So this was definitely a very fun game, and you can see from the chess.com bot, I did get a comeback win. My opponent leads with the bishop's opening. E4, E5, bishop C4. And if you remember the first match I played with Fly Like a D6, they led with a very early bishop move, so the Anderson defense against my Vienna game. Now, against the Vienna, it doesn't really work, as could be seen by the giraffe attack. However, when white gets to play first, that's not such a bad opening. And I don't really have a good sort of repertoire, I suppose, against the bishop opening. So I played knight c6, and usually what I try to do is to sort of transform the game towards a 2 knights defense in the Italian. Now, my opponent plays c3, so sort of almost like a Ponziani type sort of structure. I thought that maybe that wouldn't work so well, so I decided to play symmetrically. They push forward with d4, take, and now my opponent plays a move I absolutely didn't expect, which was bishop captures pawn of f7 with check, and this, when sort of analysed afterwards, was apparently a brilliant move. And it definitely caught my attention because when I sort of looked at it more closely, I thought, I wonder if I'm in some serious trouble. And I was thinking in the match, have I missed some sort of clever gambit or clever attack that I just wasn't aware of? Because I can take, but of course, then you have queen h5, which also comes with check. And of course, I will lose my bishop. And that's exactly what happened. I play so g6 here. They capture my bishop. And so now we are materially balanced. My king has been forced forward. I lose the right to castle. My kingside pawn structure has been somewhat damaged. I'm potentially in a bit of trouble. Now, the evaluation isn't too bad, it's plus a 0.7, but whenever there's a queens forward, damaged pawns, it's often very tricky to play. Now, I wasn't sure in the match exactly how poorly off I actually was, but I thought, look, I might have some possibilities, and sort of the goal always in these positions is to try to attack the queen, chase the queen, while at the same time develop your pieces, and then maybe you would sort of end up winning, doing okay in the middle game because of your superior development. Anyway, that was the logic. So I played d6, attacking the queen. Queen moves forward, and I thought, moves back. And I thought, aha! I've now got bishop to e6, again attacking the queen. I've developed the piece. They moved back. I brought my queen forward, so potentially opening things up for me. They brought out their knight f3. So I jumped my knight to e5. So I expected that we would trade, and then I would have some pawns in the center, and I sort of nuke one of their active pieces, and that's what happened. They short castles. And the interesting thing is, when I sort of, again, did the evaluation, Stockfish says the position is plus, almost plus 4.5. So white doing extremely well here, and I am in not a very good position at all. I slip my king out of the way. I'm thinking, okay, I need to try to get my king in as safe a position as possible. Now we've got queen g3, sort of, facing against the king. Didn't really like that. However, I saw that, that pawn was about to be potentially captured. So I thought, let's play c5. And that was a mistake because now there is bishop g5, very good move by my opponent, attacks my queen. Obviously, I have to move my queen back, so I play queen f7, and of course, that pawn is now lost with check, block with knight. They capture that pawn, capture back, queen captures back. So now they are +2 in material. And at this position, I really thought, I was lost, that I was definitely losing now. And I sort of expected that maybe next they're going to force sort of a trade of pieces, and they could sort of pull towards a absolutely winning end game. So that's what I was expecting. But play on. So h6, and then my opponent pulled the bishop back to f4. Now, as before, I expected to potentially see some sort of trade of pieces, but they pulled back. And at this point, sort of to me, the tone of the game changed. So where the opponent started off super aggressive, and here I've been sort of reflecting on my own behavior and my own sort of psychology in the first few matches of this final round. And I found myself, playing conservatively and then actually losing my sort of aggressive momentum. And I thought maybe this was happening to fly like a d6 as well. And this really actually gives me some chances because I have to go with the flow, go with the program. I noticed, the D file and C files are now fully open. Develop with tempo. So rook hd8, attacking the queen. Queen must move. They have no obvious attack on my pieces. So this is purely an attack with tempo. Yep, sure. They're sort of lining up, attacking that pawn. But knight to g4 defends that pawn and attacks the queen again. So again, attack with tempo. They bring the queen to c3 with check again. Bring the knight back. Bring the knight back. And of course now the queen is on the c file. They try to develop a knight. Now I've got rook ac8, again attacking the queen with tempo. And now with both of my rooks controlling the fully open D and C files, they're like laser beams right across the board. And that gives me potentially quite a lot of control. The opponent plays queen e5. And here I thought, ooh, that queen is almost trapped because in front of the queen, you've got my pieces barricading the position. Behind the queen, they're blocked in, hemmed in by their own pieces. The white queen can't capture its own pieces. And I saw that if I could somehow get my rook to c5, I would be placing an extraordinary pressure on that white queen. In fact, I might even win the queen might be lost. And so I play the innocent looking b6. Almost looks like a move you make when you have nothing else what to do. So I thought my opponent might not see my tactic because if they did see my tactic, what they immediately need to do is either challenge the c file with one of their rooks, or they'll need to move the bishop potentially to create an escape square for their queen. My opponent didn't see. They brought their knight forward, looking like they bring their knight forward to attack my king. But now I've got rook c5 attacking the queen. Now, these highlighted red squares are all the moves available to the white queen. Every single move that the white queen can take is covered by one of my pieces. Extremely forcing, and you can see with Stockfish, great move, and I have now captured a slight advantage in the position. And that's even with being down on material. So a very forcing, powerful move. Now, white has only one way of saving their queen here, which they saw, which is bishop captures pawn on h6, sacrificing that bishop, and then creating an escape square for the queen, which actually comes with check as well. Now here we might just take a pause and just consider how interesting this game has now developed. Ostensibly, we've got material balance. However, I've won an extra piece, so I have an extra piece, while my opponent has captured 3 of my pawns. So they've got 3 extra pawns. Material balance, but it's so unbalanced. Their king is very well defended behind their barricade of kingside pawns. My king is out in the open, poorly defended, but active. Part of the attack, part of the defense. Of my pieces, every single one is in an active square, while the rooks in particular are inactive and not being developed and not part of the game. So even though it's fairly equal, I've got a slight advantage, it's such an unequal game. So unequal position. Now, my next move is very interesting. So g5, attacking the queen. I thought this was an extraordinarily clever move, and so I was very interested to find when I sort of looked at the Stockfish evaluation after the match that this was a blunder. However, it is only a blunder if the opponent finds the right move, and there's only one good move. It's a difficult to find move, and that is the seeming, sacrifice of their only developed piece, their knight, for the pawn, because here obviously I want to take back with the rook. However, white now has h4. That rook is pinned and that rook is lost. So that's what they had to see. I didn't see it, they didn't see it. And the interesting thing here is every other move by white is a blunder. And in fact, my opponent made the only move that didn't immediately lose their queen. So there's only 2 moves, so the queen can go here and here where it's not immediately lost. However, if they went to g3, the queen will be force lost, I think in a couple of moves. So queen to e3 is in fact the only move where the queen is preserved. But Stockfish, that scumbag, still calls it a blunder, minus 1.58, minus 1.6. Here, I can jump my knight forward, attacking the queen. Queen goes all the way to the edge of the board, a3. And here I play queen c7. I thought I was very, very clever because now I have always got a mate in one threat against the opponent. Now this move effectively pins their only active piece to the f3 square. If that knight ever moves off f3, then it will be mate in one. Now my opponent probably sees that, lashes out with b4. That is a serious blunder, like almost -7 now, because I've got rook forward, rook to c3, sorry, attacking the queen. The opponent sort of challenges my rook. And a very interesting thing here is from Stockfish's position, I'm so winning, even though we're materially balanced, they actually want me to just make balanced trades. So obviously what white is thinking here is if I take the queen, they take my queen, Stockfish actually thinks that that's the best move. Now, in the game, I was not not brave enough, maybe not foolish enough to do that. So I played rook dd3, second attack on the queen, take. I'm happy with that exchange. Still with an attack on the queen. Queen moves out of the way, and here my goal, of course, is to whack that knight so that I then have a potential checkmate. However, before I could do that, if I move that rook, they do have a potential queen to h8 with check. So I need to first move my king out of that position. So king g6, I think Stockfish approves. Yep, great move, -3. They try to attack the knight. That's fine. Take their knight with my rook, and you will see that Stockfish considers this to be a brilliancy. And again, because if they take, that is instant checkmate. Now they saw that, so they have to take my knight, which is what they did. But now they've damaged the defenses. I've cracked open the defenses around the white king. Stockfish again really wants me just to trade off pieces. They think it's better for me to trade off pieces. Wasn't so keen about that. So I pull my rook back to f7. Of course, that was under attack, so they move a pawn forward. But again, that sort of weakens the defense, particularly the dark squares around their king. Infiltrate with my queen to f4. They try to develop their rook, but it's too late. Now queen to e3 with check, and in sort of the complicated nature of the position, my opponent actually makes the wrong move. So that move is hard to see because, that looks like there's a check there, but that now blunders a mate in 5. And how that looks like, and I actually saw the move, I now have a bishop to c4 with check. My opponent opted to resign here, and the reason they opted to resign is they cannot move the king here. They must block, and let's say they block with rook first, captures, block with queen, take, king forced, and now there we go, checkmate. So good game, GG. What an absolutely fantastic game this was. Thank you very much, Fly Like a D6, for a beautiful, wonderful game. I've now won 5 out of 5 matches in this round. And more than that, Go the Dogs has actually withdrawn from the tournament. And so effectively, I only have 2 matches left in this round against the same opponent. So hopefully I'll do well against that final opponent. Let's see what happens. My big takeaway from this game: don't give up after a mistake in the opening and play to the strengths of what you've got. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.